racing for 15 years plus now. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm currently running a sheltie named Muppet.
Muppet, very cool. So we ran Steeplechase today.
Yes.
Always a fast-flowing course. This is the design behind Steeplechase. What were some of the challenges in this course?
The site here is a little bit different. It's a little bit more compact than some of the other rings. This was 80 foot tall and 100 foot wide. So everything was maybe just a little bit closer than some other steeplechase courses might be. But I think it was still pretty fast and flowing. Yeah, the challenges in steeplechase, it should be more handling challenges. It should really allow the dogs to open up and run a little bit. There shouldn't be so much stop and go, lots of changing directions, lots of change of speed. You shouldn't see that on a steeplechase course generally. So yeah, today there was a little box that kind of happened after jump number 8 on the way to the weave poles number 9. We had some dogs that were looking at the broad jump number 11. Actually, even before the wingless number 8, we had some dogs that were actually going and finding the tunnel entrance on their own, which was interesting. They weren't getting a good look at the opening. It was just the side of the tunnel that they went on their own.
Tunnel sec.
Yes.
What kind of surprised you about this course and how it ended up running?
I think that area right there, the box that I talked about, the number of dogs that really that actually did go off course or thought really hard about going off course.
Now I noticed from the weave poles they did a tunnel and then the broad jump and the jump, and then they were to do almost a 180 to the A-frame. But a couple of dogs ended up taking the last jump as well too. Did you expect anything like that?
Yeah, I figured there, because that was one of the areas where things were a little bit close. And it really required a little more change of speed on the dog on the turn from to the A-frame. But most everyone handled that really well.
And then after they took the A-frame the first time, and they did that jump and ended the tunnel sequence, talk about that sequence a little bit.
Well, I try to have on my courses options for handling. I think it gets kind of boring when you see people handle sequences the same way. Everybody's handling it on the same side, the same way. So this was a section where I kind of thought, well, some people will probably handle their dogs on one side of the A-frame, taking it the second time. Other people might do it on the other side. So I think we saw some different choices there.
Now the weave poles too, there was actually tunnels on either side of it. Talk about that, because I saw some dogs going to the far tunnel that wasn't on
the off-course tunnel. They had to do kind of a turn of 180 degrees from the weave poles to tunnel number 10, and of course when they're exiting the weave poles, there was the off-course tunnel there for them to take a look at. So I think there are a few handlers that kind of let the dogs go a little bit and then they off-coursed or thought really hard about off-coursing instead of continuing smoothly and quickly on the course that was intended.
Explain a little bit about the philosophy of steeplechase, that it's kind of like a jumpers with weave poles and an A-frame.
So steeplechase, the course requirements, of course, lots of jumps. You're going to see your spreads. You're going to have the broad jump that's required, and then weave poles and A-frame are required elements, and one of those is supposed to be taken twice. So it's a combination of a lot of speed and a little bit of control, because the weave poles and the A-frame does require a little bit of collection on the part of the dogs.
So if I'm just getting started in USDA and I see the steeplechase thing, what kind of advice would you have for somebody coming into their first steeplechase run?
Well, first of all, how you do on steeplechase is always how you do against everybody else that's running on that particular day. So there's not a set course time. And if you're at a fairly competitive event, you may want to try to push it a little, push the speed a little bit. Sometimes that's required in order to get a qualifying run. But then sometimes the speed really hurts the dogs as well, because there's some subtle things that you see out there. For example, like the dogs that went right by jump number 8 and into the tunnel on their own and not paying that close attention to their handlers. You can't let the dogs go too fast or too out of control, or some things can go wrong really quick.
Any other advice you want to have for anybody starting in agility?
Well, Steeplechase is probably one of the best tournament classes to enter if you're running with a new dog or your first dog, because the courses are a little bit more straightforward than most of the Grand Prix courses or the Dog Agility Masters courses. So it can be a really fun way to get a little bit more experience at the higher levels.